Now, you mentioned it a little bit. Now, if we're thinking about drivers, right now you're trying to think through adding drivers. Do you pitch it as, hey, we just need you for a month? Do you talk about it as a full-time job? What's the market for that look like right now?
I'd say with the level we're at now and the amount we're looking to add, I'm talking about it as a full-time job. Uh, and I mean it. I mean, I'm not selling anybody a bill of goods there. I feel like that is the intention is uh between, there's natural turnover in the business. We've been really, really lucky. We got a great team now. When we took over the business, we were running at 100% annualized turnover. So if you were going into and at the time we had 12 drivers, so it was almost perfectly one a month we were losing. So going into peak, you could hire three extra people and expect to stair step your way back down to even without any intervention. Luckily, now we've got a much stickier workforce. We've got the crew we like. So we are, I'd say, a little bit more careful about who we're adding, but the intention is for them to be full time. Now, again, if we get requests from new destinations that change the calculus there, then I would be talking to people more part-time. But the thing I would do first probably is try to get more out of the current part-timers that I have. I have three guys right now who do less than a full load. One of them does one day, one of them does two or three, and the other does three or four. So that's a lot of slack capacity. If I can ask them for a month at a time or 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, kind of rotate the load through, I can get an extra theoretical 10 runs out of those guys, right? If they want to do it. And that's a better situation for our morale and whatever
Yeah.
to kind of hook those guys up rather than bring on true temps.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I think that's another important point. Sometimes the line haul extra peak volume is not additional runs, just it's a 4-day run that turns into a 6-day run during peak season. So as much as you can flex the guys, and especially the part-timers, there's value in that. And it's also, it's very hard to keep a driver on who's only doing one day. That's not what most line haul drivers are thinking about this space for. They're viewing it as a career. You're not going to have a bunch of people who are like, yeah, call me when you need me. I'm just not going to work in the meantime. So 3 or 4 is about the most partial you can get. Or P&D, you've got people who will literally tell you, I will work for the next month. That's the only time I have for it. And maybe I will only work one day a week. I'm a 24 hours on, 48 hours off type job. So line haul, you always want to get people that when you can get them, but know that if you bring them in and there's nothing for them, you're going to lose them. So you kind of have to play that game there. And so when you're thinking about the people that you bring in, or even your normal people, do you do any extra kind of incentive during peak to get them to do more, or is it just basically you're doing more so you get paid more?
Yeah, it's mostly doing more, getting paid more. In our Maryland operation, it's a little bit different mindset. Texas, everything's bigger in Texas. These guys are running a lot of miles and they're all assigned runs. So these guys know they're getting enough miles each day. They're kind of paid on a per mile basis. And so doing an extra day gets them that much more money. In Maryland, they tend to be shorter runs, shorter segments. So we have more of a guaranteed minimum set up there. And peak, I think, will really offer the opportunity to get really above that guaranteed minimum and make great money beyond that. So I think it's a different incentive structure there. It's a different setup. And I think we're pretty well aligned on that front. We try to treat our people well through the holidays. If they're working holidays, pay them extra if it gets a little bonus and stuff like that. Just typical holiday stuff. But I'm not fundamentally changing the way that we pay during peak.
Yeah, and I'd say that's correct. If you think about it, pickup and delivery, there's incentives people offer to try to get that 6th day or to get more hours out of them with that assumption, because not many people are paying hours, are paying hourly on the P&D side, but line haul drivers, the runs are already pretty long. There's only so many hours they can do in a row, and there's only so many hours they can do in a week. So there's only so much you can pay for anyway. So it's kind of just, if you're doing more, you get paid more. And then I think everybody has those types of holiday incentives or things you'll do at the end of the year for people.